Good day to you. I'm Spenta. I live in USDA Zone 7 and I love gardening. Today I'm going to share some tips about succession planting and why I love it so much and why it works so well for me and in my gardens. Well, for one, succession planting is good if you don't have a lot of space to work with. So if you have a small bit of gardens, yet you're looking into having flowers or vegetables grow throughout the seasons, I highly recommend succession planting. Succession planting definitely works and makes your gardens look amazing. And not only that, if you love to cook for culinary purposes, it is a great method. What is succession planting anyway? Succession planting is simply planting in succession, as it sounds like, just like that. Let's say I put a winter crop in and then I follow with a warmer climate crop and follow it with again a cooler climate in the autumn season, and so on. I continue with continuous growth and production in my gardens. And not only so, succession planting can take on a few other terms. And in a short term, succession planting can take place if you take a crop, for example. Right now we're looking at some peas. My peas, for example. It can be sugar snap peas, snow peas, any kind of peas. Usually peas have a growing season between 55 to 65 days. So they have a maturity between 55 to 65 days. Okay, and I know that peas are a cooler climate crop for me. They do really well in springtime and they do really well in autumn time. Again, I live in USDA Zone 7, so I know how long it takes to grow the peas, and I know how much sun I'm getting throughout the spring and autumn season. So that helps me in planting my plants in succession. I plant one row, let's say the first week of March, and I cover it with another row the second week of March. The third week of March, I plant another row, and I do the same thing all the way through the end of March. So what happens is, in return, in the upcoming season, I will have snow peas. However, I will not have a large harvest that I have to harvest all at once and not know what to do with it. And also, keep in mind that it is fresh veggie, fresh produce. It does go bad. You can't keep it forever. So if you're not able to eat all of it all at once, I definitely recommend succession planting. Now, you can make different rows. You can make different rows and plant different seeds in those different rows. And then you can come in between if you'd like and add different seeds or different plants that take longer to grow, which is what I've done right here. This particular garden has two different plants in it that are long bloomers. One of them takes 120 days to mature and another 130 days to mature. So that being said, it's going to stay in my garden soil this whole period of time. I don't want it to just be by itself. I want to plant other crops in so that I can enjoy those crops while my other crops are getting matured, because it does, I mentioned, take 120 days for one to mature and 130 for the other to mature. So why not go ahead and plant snow peas for 2 months straight so that I can eat snow peas or sugar snap peas, however kind of peas you like, for 2 months straight in the springtime. So I planted these particular seeds. All that you see over here was planted in the winter time. Everything here was planted in winter in succession by succession planting method. All of this, and I will continue. There is more. There is lots and lots that continues and goes on, but the peas get smaller because the further rows we go to the right of my garden is when I planted the later crops in the later season, so later time in the season. This garden here, prior to it being my spring garden, of course I mentioned a little bit earlier on winter crops, this garden right here has amazing soil because I've planned it, I've prepared it. It is so important. Succession planting works. It works really well. It works really well if you've prepared your soil well, if you know how much sun it takes or how long it takes for your plant to mature, for your crop to mature. It's really important to keep a garden planner and write down dates. I highly recommend writing down the dates of each plant, each seed you put in. Write it down. Even if you transplant, transplantation can be a form of succession planting. So I have lots of blackberries, and if I take a blackberry cutting from one area to another area in my garden and place it there, next year I'll have blackberries in that area. That's another way of succession planting. So it can take place in putting seeds down, or you can go ahead and put take transplants and take it to another place of your garden. Still, you're having continuous growth. One thing I do highly recommend, I mentioned that this was my winter garden prior to this. It didn't have any snow peas in it. It had some carrots, lettuce, kale, cabbage, spinach, bok choy. Those are really great, cool weather loving crops. I also put down some onions in February. Onions take a long time to grow, so you want to let them take all the sun they can. I don't recommend planting onions in succession. Do not plant onions in succession. Onions need all the sun they can get and all the maturity they can get. To the right of this garden, I have a variety of potatoes planted. Potatoes can take anywhere from the type of potatoes that I plant in my area can take anywhere from 100 to 120 days to mature. Some of them actually take less time. There are some potato varieties that are smaller that take actually 90 days to mature in my area. Again, I keep saying my area. I live in USDA Zone 7, that's correct. You need to know your climate very well. It's true to be a master gardener. It has some tips and it has some tricks, and it comes with it, gardening for such a long time. But the best tip I have for you is to prepare your gardens before you start. So I prepared this for my crops. Every time I'm going to place new crop, I prepare my garden bed again. And I have my own compost. My compost consists of 1/3 portion cow manure, 1/3 portion kitchen leftover veggies and leftover kitchen scraps that are just veggies and fruits. I do not add any citrus material, no lime, no lemons, no orange. I don't add that to my compost. And another third of my compost consists of grass clippings. And just whenever I am going to pull these out, okay, I'm going to replace this with warmer climate weather after I harvest my peas. These peas here I planted first, and then as rows go by, I planted more. You see, so I will be able to take away, and you see, as I take away one row, I will go ahead and replace it with other seeds in the ground. I plan on putting okra in this particular garden, so I'm looking forward to having some warmer climates, crops growing, such as okra. In another garden, I've already started peppers and tomatoes. So this isn't the only garden I have, but if you have gardens ongoing that are with succession planting, you can do this. You can do the same thing I'm doing and continue to eat fresh for weeks. And not only that, you don't have to worry about your produce going bad, and you don't have to worry about, for example, someone might say, hey, I'm not sure what to do with it. I only eat this in salad. Well, plant it, space it more further out so that you don't have all those crops all at once. And remember, it's in your discretion how many seeds you plant. So keep that in mind. Based on your use, plant what you need. Again, I'm Spenta. I thank you so much for watching my share. We are having a windy day today. As usual, in the spring it is always windy here. Some tips to remember. Remember how much sun your plants need. Remember their maturity window, how long it takes for them to mature. It's good to plant cool weather crops when it's time and rotate with warmer weather crop as season comes. It is really good to use your own compost, use your own soil, organic material, so you know what you're eating. Remember, this is where you're going to be putting items in your belly. So you want to eat good things. And one more thing, remember to prepare your garden beds prior to starting your gardens. I'm Spenta. I live in USDA Zone 7. Save planet Earth, now, tomorrow, always. Thank you for watching my share. Have a beautiful day. If you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button.